Hello everyone. In this video I collected a bunch of videos that I recorded, lol, for the making of this mural, which by the way I wanted to mention that this is my first mural and it has taught me so many things. I can't even express some of them. Well, first I want to mention what I am doing. I did some graffiti on the wall so that I could project it on the iPad and Procreate this sketch so that I could just trace it out like this with a paintbrush on the wall. But yeah, as I was mentioning, I learned a ton of things. Like seriously, I can't even tell you all how many things I learned. Actually, I should make a list. I didn't do it, but I should make one. Well, I don't have any more time to make it. I'm just going to mention the most of the things that comes into my mind. Well, at first, this project started as a school project in April of 2024 of this year. And it took me, as you can see, so long to finish. I started the sketches on April and they just would get rejected, or they would tell me like, hey, change this thing and change that and add this, and I would just do it. But in the meantime, like between all of the things there were to do, I just had too many things going on. So I started to paint this on September, on the last couple of days of September. I tried to add a couple of the dates, however I did not have them all. I did on my gallery on the videos. I can see when were they taken. However, I didn't want to do it. Like, I don't really care that much. So I just tried to add the main ones. But yeah, then they would tell me like, well, how much paint you're gonna need, how much money you're gonna need. And I absolutely didn't know. Like, I had no idea. This wall is approximately 9.7 meters long and 3.7 meters tall. So I had no idea. It is quite big, the wall, and I had no idea how many paint, how many time it was going to take me, if I could do it. I had no idea because I had never done this as big before. I had never done anything as big as this. And one day I remember I was scrolling through TikTok, well, I don't even have TikTok, but through Instagram Reels, and I saw some girl making a mural, and she would start her walls as doing this grid, doing these sort of nonsense drawings in order to get the sketch right, to get the proportions right. And I honestly did it too, and it just came out so good. Like, most of the proportions in this mural came out perfect, well, as they were planned on the previous sketch that I did on Procreate. And oh yeah, that's something I wanted to also say. I did the sketch in Procreate. I am going to try to put a picture here of the original sketch and how it came out in the end. Well, you already saw that. Also, I posted a lot of cute pictures on my Instagram. I am seeing if I can make one TikTok of the mural, of the whole process. I will try. And yeah, that's it. Then I remember the day that we had to go and pick the colors from the paint store, and I had to pick the colors that I was going to need. I'm not gonna lie, I chose most of them correctly. I would say, a pretty good job for my first time. However, if you're gonna make a mural and you have like a sketch, you have like a prototype you're going to follow, be really careful with the shades you're going to use. I got a couple of shades wrong, and by this I don't mean that I got purple instead of magenta. I mean that I got, like, for example, the color of the sky on the prototype, it was like yellowish green, and I chose it as a baby blue almost. And that sort of things took me a lot of time to fix. I was mixing the color each time that I wanted to paint the sky because I didn't buy the right shade of the color of the sky. So yeah, I did spend a couple of minutes, well, I would say hours in total. Well, not really, I didn't spend that much time, but it did took me time that I could have used painting, you know. Also, one of the reasons why it took me so long is that I'm not really able to focus really quick. Like when I focus, I get pretty like really focused. However, most of the time I wasn't alone. Like I always had friends over or someone else was seeing me, and it's not like I couldn't paint while people were seeing me, but you know, I was engaged at talking. Like I love talking, you know, so I really was like trying to get a conversation while painting, as you can see in the video. And yeah, some of the things that made me lose so much time was me being with other people. And also I had to do this, like, I'm gonna explain the whole thing to you. This mural, this wall, is a part of my school. You know, it is on my school. It is an office that's a part of my school. So I had to go, like, I go to school at 8 a.m. and I usually go out until 3 or 4 p.m. If I have like the whole day. Sometimes I do go out earlier. However, most of the days I was getting out at those hours, and then I would have to stay there the whole day, do not go back to my house, and I had to stay there to paint the mural, and I would stay painting the mural at like 6 or maybe 6:30 because that's the time that the sun was setting. And it was hard, right? I'm not gonna lie to you, it did felt really heavy on some days. There were some days where I was really tired and I wanted to stay there, and I would change, I would get all the paintings out, start opening the cans, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to my house. Like, what am I doing here? I want to go to my house. And I would leave, and another day I would go, in just a couple of hours I would paint, and then I was like, okay, it's already late, late, so I would just go. So this definitely made me take so much time. Like, I wonder what would have happened if I would have done this mural in like a normal, nice, and humane schedule. Like, what if I had done this from 9 to 3, you know, or 9 to 5? I feel like it would have taken me so much. I mean, yes, like, I feel like it would have been so much quicker. However, life isn't beautiful, life isn't perfect. This is not a movie, and I did end up taking quite a long time. So I did my research into my gallery, and I think it took me like 20 days. I was 20 days in this mural. I don't know the hours, and I don't know if all of those days I did something. I just counted all of the days that I would have pictures of the mural or videos, because every time I would go, I would take a lot of pictures and videos. So yeah, I just counted every single day that I had a video or photo in, and that was 20 days. So that's my guess. I took 20 days on making this mural, except we are not counting the fact that I started the planning of the prototype in April. So I'm not counting all those hours and all those hours that I spent, buying the paints, etc., etc. So, long story short, making a mural is hard. And I don't want to praise myself saying, oh my god, this was so hard. I deserve the world. No, it was fun, I enjoyed every single minute of it, even though I know I'm just complaining right now. I did have those couple of things to complain about, but everything was just so fun. I had so many good conversations being here. I would ask my friends questions. It was like a time and place to be honest. Alright, I would just ask very direct questions. People would answer me, whoever was there with me would answer me with the most honest, or at least I think so, with the most honest reply, and I would just alright, well, get me the paint. No, but really, it was so fun. I also had some conversations that I wish I didn't had, and people that I wish weren't there, or sometimes I just wanted to be left alone, but nobody was letting me be alone. And yeah, I had so many good conversation themes. I think I should make a list of all the good conversations that I had, except I am forgetting them, and I don't want to. I feel like this will be some of my core memories when I think about high school, especially since it is my last year. And as I am editing this, I already am on winter break, so this was almost my last semester. Not yet. Next is my last semester. But I think I'm always going to look back and not regret anything of what I've done here, or in general, really. That's one of my favorite topics to talk about, regretting things. And I feel like I learned so many things, not only about painting, but also about life and people and myself, and mixing colors and walls and brushes and knees and feet. My knees and feet hurt. Hurted. Wait, what's the past form of hurt? Well, yeah, I had pain on my knees and feet for a long time, but I guess it's good now. It is good now. And yeah, I remember some of the days I would go out of school. I would get out of school at 3. These were the first days that I had started the mural, and I would come back to my house, eat, literally only eat. I would arrive, change my clothes, eat, and leave again. It was quite exhausting, especially because I am a very, introverted person. I really don't like getting out of my house, of my studio especially, or my room. So this was a little challenging, but I guess most of the good things are challenging, at least in the beginning. So yeah, as I am saying, I don't regret any of this. And looking back at it, it is going to be so fun to look back at it. Right now, it's still a little fresh in my mind. I feel like it still happened yesterday, even though right now it is December 15, and I am editing this video and watching the footage. But yeah, I am living these moments in the present and in the past. I also a lot of personal things happen in my life. Looking back at it, I'm right now just seeing the footage of the video that you're also seeing. But goddamn, I remember a lot of things that happened in my personal life. And the mural time was just like turning off my mind from all my personal things, and I would just paint because that was my only freaking job. And oh yeah, by the way, I'm not getting paid. I didn't get paid, as I said before. This was a school project, and yeah, I mean they got me the materials. However, I did not get a single penny for this mural, and I'm actually not mad. Like I'm pretty happy that I get to do this, and at least I have now the experience. However, it's not like I don't want to get paid. I do, except I enjoyed this, and I knew I wasn't going to be making this like as a job, because this is for like school, for my own paperwork. So I mean, what else can I get? Maybe this is exploitation. It is. I agree with it, but at least I am happy while I'm doing it. This was probably one of my favorite figures. The man on the left, top left, right under my signature, which you will see later. I don't know if you can see the man right now. I think you not. I think you don't. However, when you look back at the mural, you'll see what I mean. I really like that man. I haven't been able to record as much as I'd like to because I have these things covering me from the sun. So I don't have a lot of space to record there because, well, I just can't. But here's how it's going. Let me show it to you. Today I was talking with a friend of the family, a friend of my mom probably, and she asked how I did it to transfer, like to get the proportions right. And I told her the grid method I used, and she said, well, what if you do something wrong? What if you get a stroke wrong? And I just automatically said, well, nothing, because you can paint over it, literally. And I think that is this mural, I did so many things wrong, but in the end, it was just paint, so I could always paint over it and start over, do it again. Doesn't matter, and you gotta keep moving forward, I feel like that's something that I learned in here too. I would do so many things wrong because, again, as I said, I didn't know, and it was my first time. Like, when I started to paint the ceiling, I wasn't aware of how blue it was and how cool the tone was. I didn't know I was going to have to make it yellowish. So I started to paint it, then I realized it was blue, and well, what else could I do? I just painted over it with the right shade. I did have some help from my friends. If you're watching this, thank you so much. You know who you are. I genuinely have no words to express how thankful I am for all the people that helped me in one way or another. And I'm just so happy how everything turned out. I'm just so happy with everyone and everything that happened. And again, looking back at it, I can remember what I was going through in every single brushstroke, and that is something that I really love about art in my art practice, the paintings, the drawings, the collages, my journals. From the single fact of looking at it, I can get so much from it. I can see what I was thinking. I can see what I wore that day, why I wore that, why I did my makeup like that. Like one of those days, I added a really strong eyeliner, black graphic eyeliner, and I loved it. It was awesome. I genuinely enjoyed that eyeliner, and I haven't done it since then because it is long. So because I'm afraid it will turn out so bad. However, I will try. When it was time to add my signature, I also added my username for Instagram. It is a little too hidden on the wall. I do regret that. Well, not really. It is fine where it is. However, I could have put it somewhere else where it was more visible. I also wanted to paint the door because it was plain green, and I was like, well, it is going to look a little bit boring, and I just wanted to add a little something, you know, so I added bees all over it, and I love these bees so much. They're so chunky, and like they are like the most lowest production bees that I've ever seen in my life. However, yes, I did those. They did took like one day, because the other day, I remember the day that I started them, it went dark earlier, so we had to go home, and then the next day I just finished them. So yeah, they didn't took that much time. However, I did take time. Anyway, yeah, I mean, I feel like I did take my time on everything. Like, every single thing. Then the part where I realized everything was over, this day I only came to seal it. It was done, and I only had to seal it now. So that's what I did. That's what I am doing. I applied the sealer way too thick. It was almost like glue. Because I was talking with my dad, and he said, well, how are you gonna seal it? And I was like, I'm just gonna apply seal. And then he said, yeah, but no, don't add water on the sealer, so it's thicker and it is shinier and protects more your wall. And I was like, that's right. So that's what I did, and it did came out beautifully in some parts, and in other parts I didn't put it very well. I didn't spread it correctly. So in some parts it was like wider than the other. It had this white wash. However, when it was I left it like that for a couple of days, and then when the opening was coming, I went to fix it. And added more paint, and then added more sealer again. However, I don't think you can see those parts where I'm talking about, so I won't mention them. Oh, and by the way, can you see the tree? The shadow was pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. However, it didn't allow me to see very well what was under it, and I told them to please cut it out a little bit so I could see more and I could take a better picture of it, and they did. You probably will see that on the pictures, which, by the way, I added a couple of pictures in the end of the opening, and I also have a ton of pictures on my Instagram, so go check that out. And yeah, I remember this day like it was yesterday because it wasn't that long ago. But I was applying the sealer, and two of my friends were watching me from the point where the camera is. They were taking the video, and I was thinking like, oh my god, the sun is so hot. I'm sweating so bad right now, and I'm almost done. This is turning out pretty well. What if this doesn't dry? What if this leaves a whitewash? Do I look bad on the video? Do I look fat? Is everyone judging me? Are they laughing at me? I can't hear what they're saying. But anyway, that's like a couple of thoughts that I think I was having from seeing this video. I don't remember exactly what I was thinking about. I was worried that it would leave a whitewash, as I said. However, in most parts parts it didn't, and in some parts it did. But anyway, I don't know what else can I yap about. This was the opening day, I think. Yeah, it was. And this is how the mural ended up looking, and some photos that I took. Thank you so much for watching. This was amazing. I hope I can make more of these. I would be so happy and excited, and it would be genuinely amazing. Thank you to everyone who helped me in one way or another. You did in so many ways, even if you weren't physically there. Thank you. Bye.